Okay, so here is a place where we can start logging the activity that we do for our SMART goals. Now, you don't need to do this on a spreadsheet. You can do it on a piece of paper. I will make this spreadsheet available for you, though, in the resources section if you would like to find it there. But basically, when we do some networking and we reach out to people, what we want to do is just make a record of who we reached out to and when we contacted them and any other information. And we're going to do the same thing for any courses that we're doing. We're just going to log what courses that we've started. And we're also going to have a look at job applications as well and log those. So we're going to log which applications we have submitted and how many we've submitted with the date. And then we're also going to add in a follow-up as well. And the idea here is that at the end of it all, we can calculate how much effort we've put into each of these, because we want to set a target to make sure that we are consistent with our job search, networking, etc. So say for networking, for example, that you want to force yourself to reach out to at least 3 new people a week. Now you might want to make it more people or less people, but just set a target. And what you want to do is you want to make a note of who you reached out to, perhaps make a note of what role they had in what company, and then make a note of what date you've reached out to them. You might also want to make a note of how you reached out to them, whether it was LinkedIn or email or something like that. If you've done any follow-ups, and add any notes about what you asked them about or what you talked about. And feel free to add more columns in here as well for any more information. The real point to this is to just make a record so that we're organized, and we also can then start to see how many people that we've contacted per week. And you'll soon see that if you're not reaching your targets, it'll motivate you to make sure that you make time to reach out to more people. It's the same with certifications as well. If you've set a target to do a new certification every month, then just make a note of what you're doing and when you completed it. And hopefully every single month you'll have a new certification and you're meeting your targets. Now, don't beat yourself up and worry too much if you're not hitting the targets, because sometimes we set these targets and they are goals for us to aspire to, but sometimes we find out that things don't work out exactly as we expected. Things in life can get in the way, or we might find that a certain qualification or certification is harder than we expected, and it's going to need more time. But the key is to just keep that momentum and keep moving. And this sheet will help you to keep organized and make sure that you are actually focusing on it and keeping regular with the work that you're doing. Because the thing that we can control is the amount of applications that we send out, the amount of people that we network with. What we can't control is whether those applications are going to be successful, if the employer is going to invite us to an interview or therefore a job, or if that person that we've reached out to is going to get back to us. We can never definitely control it. We can improve our chances of getting a job or an interview, and we can improve our chances of getting somebody to reply to us on our reach outs. That's what this whole course is about. But we can never definitively make sure and guarantee that that is going to happen. But what we can control, what we can try to guarantee, is how many times we have reached out to people, how many applications we have sent out. So that's the idea of this sheet. So just make a record of all of this information. Now, you might want to simplify it a little bit, in fact, and put in the month. And you could perhaps just put in, and you could put this in as March. This one was in April. This one was in May. This one was in June, etc. So you're just making a note to say that you actually have every single month put an application in. If your target is 1 a month, then you are reaching 1 a month. And you can also then go to your tracker and calculate them, and say your networking efforts for March was to reach out to 4 different people, and you've actually done 6 in March. We can actually color code this. So what you would do, and this is in Google Sheets, you can do this in Excel as well. You want to go to format. It'll be similar in Excel. You go to format, and what you want is conditional formatting. It's called the same in Excel as well. And then you can just set up a conditional formatting for it. So what you can say is you want the range. So you can just pick E to E. So that takes the entire column. And we could say value is greater than. So if the value is, well, equal to or greater than or equal to, there we go. And the value that we're aiming for is 4, then we want it colored green. But if the value is less than 4, so we add another rule, and again, it wants to be E to E, so we'll just make sure it is E to E. We could do it this way. And is less than, if it is less than 4, then we want a different color. We want it red, just to let us know that we have failed. So, you know, if you put 4 in there, sorry, if we put less than 4 in there, it'll come up red. So that's just a visual cue that you can make just to make sure that you are hitting your targets. It's the same with total applications sent out. You can simply just set up some rules like that to color code it just to make sure that you are keeping on track. So I'm going to make this spreadsheet, this Google Sheet, available in the resources section. It's a template, but you know, feel free to add whatever columns you want into this just to track what you're doing, whatever makes sense to you. And now that I've shown you how to set conditional formatting up, you can color code it as well. And for an additional tip, I'm going to show you how to format the dates. So you can just create another column as we did for the month, and then do equals, and it brings in the data from the previous column, so we can now format this column slightly differently. And to do that, you just want to go to Format, Custom Date, and then you get a whole bunch of options here, and you can just use the drop downs to pick what you want. Now, I just want the month, but if we do have a day like this, then we can just delete the day, and then we can choose the abbreviated month or the full month. I'll choose the full month. And there we go. It's pulled out the month, so you can quickly and easily see that. Now, if you want to quickly count how many reach outs you've done in that month, you just highlight the month, and then you can go down to the bottom right here, and you'll see the sum, and it gives you the count right there. So that's an easy tip there as well. Just make sure that you are tracking this, because that is something that we can control, and you'll feel a lot better about it. And sometimes if we feel that we're not getting anywhere because we're not getting interviews, then if you look back at your sheet and find out, well, actually I didn't do enough applications, I didn't do enough networking, well then, you know, you need to step up the networking and the applications. If you find out that you tend to get an application per this many reach outs on networking and this many applications, and you can average it out to find out how much effort you need to put in before you tend to get invited to an interview, well, that's also good information as well, because if you're doing something like contracting, then you want to know roughly on average how much reach out and how many applications it's going to take before you end up actually securing a contract or a gig. And again, this is very good for the gig economy, which I talk about later in the course, when you are actually reaching out to people to do certain services for them. So tracking is really important. It's really good information to log. And if nothing else, it's really good just to keep a record of who you've applied to, what companies you've applied to, and who you've reached out to. Okay, so hopefully you'll find that really useful. It's great to see the efforts that we're putting in, and don't despair. I'm sure as you get better at this, as you get better with your job seeking and your resume and your interviews, etc., those opportunities will come, and you've got a really nice list, or a bit of a database really, of all of the different people that you've reached out to, what you've spoke to them about, the applications that you've gone for. This is going to be worth its weight in gold very soon. So get started with it, get going, and good luck.